So, continuing the discussion on the body, I wanted to talk about the work of Stan Grof, who's a transpersonal psychologist who teaches at the California Institute of Integral Studies. Um, he began his career as a psychiatrist, heavily influenced by the ideas of Sigmund Freud, um, who saw all of our psychological neuroses and hang-ups as basically a product of our biological development, and we fixate on certain stages of this development, and so it becomes sort of psychologically incapable of responding to life in a way which is free of suffering because of some hang-up or some attachment we've formed to some specific stage of our development. And Grof carries this idea of the importance of the development of the body into his work, but expands it such that it can account for some of the archetypal and transpersonal aspects of our psychological experience. And one of the main theories that Grof is famous for is the idea of the basic perinatal matrices. And the idea is that a lot of the neuroses which develop in human beings throughout our lifespan are the result of fixating on traumas which occur during our birth. And he has four basic perinatal matrices defined. The first one being when we're basically safe in the womb prior to birth, in a state of union with the mother, and then after 9 months of gestation, the womb begins to contract and starts, changes from a heaven into a hell. And all of a sudden we start being pressed towards the exit, and we go through a process of death and rebirth, which, if we survive, leaves us in the final stage where we are entirely outside of the mother's womb and kind of reach a new state of quiescence or satisfaction if all goes according to plan. So you can almost think of this as a circular process from being in the womb to then outgrowing the womb, being forced out, dying, and being reborn, such that you can again return to a sense of being embedded in a larger womb, the womb of the cosmos itself. And these stages of delivery are a basic pattern which occurs not only at the biological level, but seems to repeat at the biological level of birth, but seems to repeat itself throughout the whole human life cycle and various dilemmas which we are faced with and obstacles that we are called to overcome. For example, the experience of being initiated into the underlying mystery of whatever culture you happen to be participating in, which isn't so much functioning in our modern societies, but played a very important role in this process of initiation in ancient cultures. It could be looked at as a kind of recreation or replication of the original experience of birth, where you're comfortable as a child, and then all of a sudden you're called by your community, by your surroundings, to transform into something new and better, and so are put through some sort of often dangerous and frightening trial, such that you can transcend a prior level of infancy and become mature and exist in some as yet unforeseen reality. We can also see this in the myth of the hero's journey, as the process of separation and initiation and return is again the process of birth, or death and rebirth is a circular sort of spiral of evolutionary development. So I just wanted to share this because I think when we acknowledge the importance of our bodies when it comes to experiencing our full humanity, we see that because of this process of being born, of consciousness incarnating into this physical being, we of necessity inherit certain karmas, I suppose you could say. We inherit certain debts owed to the past. I mean, the very fact that we exist as biological beings at all is evidence of tens of billions of years of evolution, which have led up to this point. And all of that past history of trial and error, of directed chance and groping towards greater complexities of experience is contained within each of us when we are born from our mother's womb, and we have been dealt those cards, so to speak, and from there are able to play in this divinely inspired universe. But to want to completely escape this game, this inheritance of certain rules given to us by our past, is really to erase the possibility of playing at all. I mean, you can transcend. It certainly seems possible to attain a kind of enlightenment where the body is no longer necessary. It's merely the material vessel of some higher essence. But once you've separated the soul from the body, you arrive back at that primordial, undifferentiated state of union when you can't even say it's when. It's not a when or a where. It's prior to space and time. And I think we can only imagine as created beings at this moment that it probably would have been rather boring at that point. And so, of course, the divine created this physical world such that spirit could such that spirit could be associated with something which was apparently other than itself. And in so doing, to take spirit in a direction or on a journey which it could not entirely predict beforehand. That's what it means to play. It means to act spontaneously, and you can only act spontaneously if you don't know what's going to happen next. And this can often create tremendous amounts of fear and terror, but to the same degree it creates the potential for a tremendous amount of bliss and enjoyment and love even. So hopefully that was an interesting overview of Groth's idea. It was from this book, Philosophy of the Future, if you're interested. But yeah, thanks for listening, and be sure to leave some comments.